here's the deal. One of the books I dropped on the way over here. I can pick them all up at the same time except for the Hork-Bajir Chronicles.
That's the best one, though.
My God.
It's just a lot of fucking books. Get
What's
your
the
hands on these K.A. Applegate.
What's the like at the top? I can't see that, dude.
Okay.
That says Animos.
Yeah.
Is it like an
He'll be telling me next time.
Yep.
You'll be telling me next time you also have a complete collection of Goosebumps, and I'll be like, dude, come on.
I do have some Goosebumps.
I'll be right back.
I don't have the complete collection. It's really hard to get my arms around this many fucking books. Jesus.
That's how I feel when I get my Warhammer books. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, don't even joke about that shit. Fucking Warhammer. Jesus Christ.
Next week we open up and all you hear is like dolly wheels squeaking in, and then like 4 piles of Goosebumps books.
Look, man, see, my key is I'm going to start buying more Warhammer armies as I start to get back into shape. And that way I'm just progressively adding, I'm using the books as the weights. I'm just progressively adding more weight. And
It's your boy, Tobias, the red-tailed hawk.
Whoop, 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 woo. By the way, y'all are motherfuckers who's never moved before, because you wouldn't be owning books if you've moved as much as
I've moved every 2 years for almost my entire life.
I was about to say, I will raise you and say, my dad was in the Navy. I've moved like 18 times in my life.
Yeah, motherfucker. Listen, these books...
They've seen a
lot of the American East Coast, okay? That's what I'll say.
There's a reason why I used to have a book collection, and there's a reason why I don't have a book collection. Literally, all my books now are ebooks. The most physical books I have now are my Warhammer books. Everything else is digital.
Anyone who owns a book understands that, when you go to move, the books are the first things to go. Like, do I really need these books? The answer is no.
Honestly, once I stopped, actually, I just started going to libraries, and I used to go, they would have like, here's the books that haven't been checked out. It's like all these sci-fi books, it's like an author who wrote one book, never touched the thing again. And it's like, oh, I paid a quarter for this, so I don't feel bad about getting rid of it. It's not actually, it's like, I read it, never going to touch it again. I don't really feel bad anymore. My
most experience with books is moving 4 times a year while in college and lugging those books if I couldn't sell them back to whatever shithole apartment I lived in for the summer, and then back to school to try to sell them to a student that was taking that course. Back to a freshman that like.
Sorry, I mean moving overseas. Exactly. Yes.
No. I mean, even when you're not moving overseas, I mean, you're still a fuck ton of shit. I mean, moving just sucks regardless. Like.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And then I got a cat.
Moving overseas, you probably like. It's even hard to find a company that will take care of a PC to get overseas.
Like when I traveled to America for the first time and I brought my PC, they fucked up everything inside of it, like broke everything. And they're like, is the outside case damaged? And I'm like, no, because I had a box and foam around it. And they're just like, oh, well, you can't get back your insurance. It's not physically damaged, so it's like
it's one of the reasons why I very quickly, like, I have all of my monitor boxes, I have all of my major PC component box, like anything of value, I have the box, the foam. I mean, granted, moving, like, I have all of the shit. RMA stuff for one, because I do water cooling stuff, and that's a chance. But at the same time, it's just like I've moved enough times where I'm like, having all of the boxes and shit, it just makes life so much easier because.
The real life hack here is take all the books and use those as the protective material.
And the real life hack is not to buy, just don't buy shit. If you're like, I'm going to touch this once and not touch it again, don't fucking buy it. Buy an ebook version or, a digital copy or whatever. And then I got a cat, right? So I'm like, it's never going to have books again. Yep. Cat's a fucking asshole.
All right. So D&D.
Yeah. You make 1,530 gold pieces. After tax.
Hang on.
Is that
you
all
retire
of our
from adventuring and roll around in gold?
Yes.
Is that all of our materials?
You sell everything.
First round. Okay.
That's everything. You sell everything.
So how much did you say?
1,530. It goes basically instantly.
So we made like a little bit under like double our money.
Yeah. So now we've got 1,610 GP. Not bad, boys.
Most of it is not in gold coins. You're looking at a lot of silver and copper.
Yeah, it's okay.
You find a nice wagony area, like where provisioners are supposed to park, basically. And because you have permission from the local lord, you're just, allowed to set up camp there for no problem.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything y'all want to do before the sun finishes going down.
I'm gonna go bathe in oil, do the oil thing that makes you smell good, scent myself up.
Oh well, like
Yeah.
fucking what's it
there's
called?
there's bathing holes around here, but you're gonna have to bring your own oil and apply it yourself. Such premium
no,
services
you put
like
it-
that are not available without a lot of
No,
extra
you
coins.
just put it in the bath water,
It's
make
like,
the bath water smell nice. Yeah,
oh, God.
scented. Yeah, they.
Yeah,
it's
no,
how
I
they
know.
did
It's.
it back then.
I'm just thinking of fuck. What's the game with? You played the medieval game or whatever. You just did like every 5 minutes. The combat one. I can't think of the fucking name of it. I'll have to go look.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, that's what I do, Arthur. In preparation, making a good impression, all that stuff. Because if this guy's like part of this big army thing here, it's probably a good idea to leave an impression on the dude. So
Yeah. I mean,
I want you to imagine Finley Longbottom as a Disney
Okay.
princess,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of
Mhm.
being
Got it.
surrounded by songbirds and butterflies,
Mm-hmm.
rats, cats,
Yep.
dogs,
Yep.
creepy crawlies, insects.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you go, the animals are attracted to you and follow you throughout the camp. There's some mangy, flea-ridden, dog-fighting,
Beautiful animals.
disgusting.
There's a movie where a Disney princess goes to real life, and she like uses like cockroaches and rodents in New York to like do that thing.
I think
see
I know
if I
what you're
can find
talking
it.
about, actually.
Yeah,
I have a
and it has the
very...
dude that's in the Sonic movie in it. Oh fuck. Hang on.
So for those at home, at the beginning of this stream, Spootnik said he wanted to play Twilight Imperium. Now, at the midpoint of the stream, we've already got a 5-person game scheduled for the next 3 Mondays.
Boom.
So look forward to that being dropped on YouTube in a month or two while we record that.
It's called Enchanted, the movie. by the way.
Enchanted. That does sound familiar. Okay. Is there anything you want to do about these beautiful animals that you love so much and are not disgusted by?
I mean, how many are there?
Hundreds.
I'm going to turn them into my own little army. They can follow me around if they like.
How do you want to do that?
Well,
Mass animal handling check.
yeah, I can throw like a animal handling
Absolutely.
swisha out there.
Please do. 12.
12 of them
You
follow me.
moderately handle your animals. All right,
Hmm.
they're not an army, but they have organized themselves for you. Right? They only show up a few at a time. It's like they've roped you off. Right? They let squeaky mouses come up and like spend some time with you, and then the cats come in, and then some dogs come in.
Could I be like the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons? Like where if people try to run up to me, I'm just like, and I just throw.
Yes, you can do that if you want to. Absolutely.
Okay.
oh God.
Doesn't her and Hans Mole Man end up hooking up?
Maybe that would make sense.
So you just kind of section yourself off in the merchants area, attracting all of the animals and keeping outsiders away. Like people occasionally come over to talk to you, and you're just like rats.
Pocket rat.
It's like a pocket hot dog.
Sentient pocket sand.
Igrim, Daka, what are the two of you doing?
Just kind of manning the stand until everything's gone.
Manning the stand.
Yeah, well, if this is an episode of Reciteer, you're basically out of goods immediately.
God, Reciteer.
I love Reciteer, man. That's a great
So
game.
do I.
Yeah.
Such a good game.
They need to remake that shit. Did you
I'm pretty
imagine?
sure they are. I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, a modern day Reciteer would be fucking insane.
You know,
It's called
I mean,
Moonlighter.
Moonlighter is pretty close. Moonlighter is
Yeah.
very close to Reciteer.
It's the shopping part is a little weak in Moonlighter, I will say.
Yeah,
Or the selling
that's.
part. Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason you play Reciteer. It's not that stupid ass dungeon shit. It's hanging around with all your chill bros in town and being like, "That's right,
Damn
little
right.
girl. It's fucking Candy Week. I'm gonna sell you this shit for 300 times the value."
Yeah.
She's like, "I've only got 50 cents," and I'm like, "You go fuck home and come back with $1,000 if you want this lollipop."
I think if Doc is going to be like trying to liquidate our goods there, I'm gonna stick with him and act as the
I
Oh,
am the
you're the
most charismatic
organizer?
of the party.
well, that or the muscle to keep people from nicking our
Yeah.
shit.
Exactly. You're the one that you are doing what the rats are doing for Finley. You're,
That or we need to lift something. Like lift? Did I hear lift? So, it's like a dog. It's like dog and food, but for lifting.
Kelly, you find yourself outside of the dining tent of Rise of the Village of Reiklander, aka Lord Reiklander.
Okay. So I mean, I make my way in, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You smell nice. What are we talking here? Like lavender, rose water?
Something. I mean, probably lavender, most likely. I'm probably wearing like town clothes, not armor or nothing like that. So, but I still have the sword on my hip.
You can see that in the background of this situation, there's someone slaughtering one of your chickens that have all been sold here. And
We sold the chickens?
and the cart, I believe, right? That's what you guys said.
Yeah,
you were
we were
selling the
gonna get rid of-
chickens
yeah,
in
we
the
were gonna
cart,
get
and
rid
I
of that extra
assumed the
cart.
donkey went into that. I added all those costs in.
Mm, okay.
His manservant is like slaughtering the chicken and adding it to the pot, and he says, "Please, sit down. I am Rise, Lord Reiklander. This is my manservant Stapes. He has prepared for us a 7-course meal, including a dessert."
So we got rid of the chickens, donkey, and chicken wagon.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I'll sit down. Probably I'm probably not incredibly graceful, but it is what it is.
I mean, you're definitely
I try
larger
to be.
than this guy. You're a dragonborn.
7 foot tall dragonborn. Yeah.
The chair that has been procured for you has a spot for your tail.
Mm-hmm. I smush it through the hole or whatever. Yeah.
Smush it through the hole. That's the name of your autobiography.
No, no,
New
no.
band name.
New band name.
The new lubricant, battle juice.
Oh
He-
my god.
He gives a quick double clap, and outside the tent, you can hear wafting into the tent the sound of some light orchestral music. And he says, "Several of my attendant lords are very fine musicians, and I like to have them on site for entertainment.
Classy.
Please try the wine. And, might I add, this bread comes from my own province."
I do like a impressed look, but it's like it's bread. So yeah.
Oh,
To Kelly, that's all
It's
I'm
not
saying,
just
but,
bread. We're talking focaccia up in here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So she's probably just like, it's bread. Takes a bite.
You're like,
Okay.
is that cheese and some basil? Is that fresh?
Well, usually wasn't always the fancier people actually just ate like basic bitch white bread. That was the fancy thing
Is
at the
that-
time.
Sliced
Yeah, there's
tomato
not
on the top?
There's not even any sawdust in this.
This tastes like it won't kill me.
tastes like food.
So this is humane dining.
I just can't get over the fact that things like salmon and crab used to be considered
Lobster.
peasant food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lobster used to be considered sailor food.
You can just go out and grab it?
Yeah.
Ugh, disgusting.
I have to tell you, having had lobster several times, I can't believe people pay large amounts of money for it. It does not have a flavor.
I mean,
It's super bland.
Yeah.
You fucking drown that shit in butter and salt.
butter is a flavor down here. It's one of the major food groups.
Down
actually.
there in the South, butter and
One of
grits.
One of the major food groups. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. I mean, he is very dominating in the conversation here. It's not that he talks about himself the whole time, but he talks about the situation on the front lines and life here, as if perhaps you obviously don't know about this situation. But he does stop and allow you to interject and ask questions of your own. Is there anything you're particularly interested in learning from him?
I ask him about what sort of demons he's faced and that sort of stuff. I'm more interested in his personal accomplishments as a warrior than probably anything else, right? Because at least that's sort of what in terms of like what she likes, that's what she normally pushes towards, is like dudes that can do well in battle. That's like a super old Kelly thing that she's kept. So it'd probably be talking about like all that sort of stuff more than anything.
Yeah. So he says the savages of the demon lands turn many of their warriors into werewolves to increase their combat prowess.
We fought some of these, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I do remember having a bout with probably about 20 of them last time we were up.
Yeah, he seems incredibly impressed by that. Like, oh, wow. Most
We
of
also
my...
had some...
No, please, go ahead.
We also fought some flying creature abomination.
We haven't seen any of those yet this season, but yes. They do occasionally allow demons and devils to dribble into our lines, but we are men with stout hearts. It's silver weapons. My lance, passed down by my family, forefathers, 7 generations, dating before the demon wars even began. Magic weapon. With it I can penetrate the hide of even the toughest devils. I must admit I don't get as much frontline combat as I did when I was a younger man. I'm a more strategic thinker now. You might notice that there is little cooperation in these camps here. Though they come to the front lines, my lines, the other lords do not bow before me as is required by the code dictates. And so I must make bargains where I can in order to resolve forces and try to bring as much force to bear as possible. But let me tell you, when I and my knights get an opportunity to do a heavy cavalry charge on a line of werewolves, riding down them, swerving through, once I had 2 of them stuck to my lance. Oh, it was so heavy I could barely lift it even with 2 arms.
Yeah, she's in Kelly's would be enraptured in like his romanticizing of his battle conquests, you know.
It's mostly like there's no mention of him like axing somebody or sorting somebody. It's all, well, I was on horseback and I slammed into a dude with my war horse, speared him on my lance. Strictly a cavalry man.
Yeah, that's all right.
If there's nothing else that you want to talk about with him, this can devolve into a evening of pleasant conversation and hanky-panky.
Yep, that's generally what will go on here.
Turns into the Witcher scene where, or like the scene that Netflix, the one where like
I give him a dog for a pillow.
No, the Yen and the dude that she's banging at the mage place have the illusory audience watching. Yeah, that's totally it.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I will make
That dude
no effort
sounds like he
to-
would do that.
There's just a unicorn in the corner for some reason. I don't know.
Stuffed unicorn. Yeah.
Stuffed unicorn.
Yeah, I like the idea that he's like, "All right, attendants, you may leave," and I'm like, "No, keep the music playing."
Okay. You wake up the next morning and head back to your camp.
Mm-hmm. I leave him a note, Arthur.
Yeah.
So I'll tell him how to find me in the future. And oh shit. Should I pull this guy through time and space, boy?
You bang a guy one time and you're immediately like,
No.
yep.
No, he said that he's the leader of this the forces here.
Yes.
He could potentially be very useful to us when it comes to acquiring additional labor and army and stuff like that as well.
If you can convince him, I guess.
I'll tell you what, Arthur. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Yeah.
I will leave him a note and I will tell him that I have potentially an offer for him that will
Change your life forever.
change his
Blow
life
his
forever.
Fucking mind.
And if he's interested, that he should meet me tonight at like some place like outside of the camp or whatever.
Okay.
Like that's a little secluded and stuff. So
All right. I haven't mentioned it, by the way, but rather than use natural terrain here to create, natural fortifications or anything like that, these camps are so spread out that it's super. Like, if there was a cavalry charge of any kind, the cavalry would just be walking between camps.
yeah.
This place is a mess. There are plenty of secluded spots as a result.
Is
You know,
there
Copse of trees.
is there like
rocks.
those like wooden dummies, like training ground set up?
No, there's nothing like that set up. They don't have that level of basic training sophistication. Most of the men just kind of wander around during the day and keep the mud from being too bad and performing basic like wood chopping tasks. Other than that, there's a lot of fighting in the camp, just like fist fighting and gambling.
I was about to say, like
Yeah,
at night, while this is
discipline and
happening,
order are incredibly low here.
after Doctor, like, you good? I go and get drinks and then probably get into some fights. And then I have drinks with those people that I just got into a fight with. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's probably what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. The sergeants make no attempt to stop the fighting. They seem to consider it a form of training, basically. People there's no Mulan here. There's no one organizing this camp to have formations and drills. Not a thing.
So, I mean, part of what I would love to know before I find out more, before I bring this guy over, is I want to know how much he, like, in terms of like his commander skills and what he actually like owns and commands in terms of like army and how much experience he has and that sort of stuff. I want to try and work that out, because if he's just all full of tall tales and shit like that, he's probably not worth using one of the burns on. So.
Daka's gonna get like. Is it pretty rocky terrain or what?
No, it's actually super soft, muddy terrain, and between gently sloping hills.
Is there anything I can like write runes on and drop in the mud? Because these people will almost certainly die, and I'll send their despair to the mask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
could find small rocks to do such a thing. Can you make an
These
arcana
people
check
get
for me?
charged. They are fucked.
Dave is about to do a CSI, but I'm having a lot of trouble coming up with a CSI army one-liner where I can pull my glasses off in the process. I just can't think of one. 8.
I failed that pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably not enough room on the rocks to do the.
It's not that there's not enough room on the rocks. It's just that the energy here is bad. Like, there's no ley line energy. There's so much human stuff and no like fey tree lines or mystical animals. This is an entirely human space. What you're doing, Dave, is an investigation check. I don't know if you want to get any help with this.
Yeah, I mean, if
Well,
anyone
it's on his own,
wants to
right?
help.
Or is
If
this
anyone
after?
has proficiency in investigation, they can help
I
out.
do indeed.
Cool. All right. So I'll roll with advantage. Is that it?
Yep.
It's the
How-
one
Well, how
downside
are
to
you
pulling
going
a
about doing
barbarian.
this? I'm curious. Wow, you really needed that aid.
Yeah.
That's a 20.
So it's mostly like just like, I probably have people see me coming out of the tent in the morning or whatever, right? And then I'll just go around and talk to people and get an idea of like the like what people feel of him and what he actually does for his people and all that sort of stuff.
So, probably what you get most about him is that he is a organizer. He's not particularly good at military discipline, as you can see in the camp. His camp actually has the lowest level of readiness, but all of his men are well armed. They're well proportioned. Like they have enough food. They are the largest army present here. That's not saying much because, it's not like they're twice as big, but they're like 30% bigger than the next biggest army. You do hear that he uses the taxes selectively for his allies in order to punish people who don't come to his aid, and those who do come to his aid get tax relief towards supplies coming from their territories through his.
Build an Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, so, and as you noticed, he had you come to his camp first to offload all of his supplies as quickly as possible. Although you bargained for the ability to go wherever you wanted to sell things. He primarily is very concerned with his own army, and he's the only one who maintains a sort of heavy cavalry force. You do see that there are various forces of smaller lords, including the Freehold Militia, are here. But they have horses, but they're all what would be called light cavalry. They get off the horses to fight because they're not trained at,
What are his basic infantry primarily armed with?
heavy infantry. We're talking
Like, he
like
doesn't have really basic. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
he
any
doesn't-
like hoplites.
no. His force is very find a location, hold the space, wait for the cavalry to come in.
Okay.
He's got very few archers as well.
Do you think this is a question to the group? Do you think that this type of person would be a useful NPC to us?
Logistically, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like his army is well equipped. They're well supplied. They might be well, like I don't know about their training or whatever else. I mean,
If
they
we
definitely
need
have
land,
the supplies there.
Like he seems to be like the larger landowner in the area. So if we needed land ever,
Yeah. His supply chain is definitely on point, but militarily, seems like an idiot. Or
I mean,
he's
you
getting
said he
his
was
advice from.
strategic, right?
What's the
He's
logistics
an
of it?
organizer rather
Yeah.
than
Stratagems. Okay.
Yeah.
So and logistics is 9/10 of the fight. So
he could
I'm not good with
potentially
that.
help us with money problems and acquiring what we need when we start fresh and stuff like that.
yeah. Or
There's a lot of chances.
tracking down
Like-
hard to find items, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be a detriment. It just depends on how much of a pain in the dick it's going to be to get him.
Now
on
just
our side.
remember, you only have so many of these that you can use.
Yeah, that's why.
Don't spend them all in one place.
do you know how many you can use?
Yes.
I think I have 3, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
And you already have one.
But the first one was real good. He's worked out well for us. And plus, anytime that he has a lot of information about death as well. So whenever we want to quiz him about that stuff, we can totally do that. I don't know. It's interesting. What about his holdings and stuff like that? Like how rich would this person be?
It doesn't seem like he's got a large holding, but because he is situated on the only northern road, he, trade passes through his lands at a regular basis. And especially this time of year where people are fighting in the north, that's just tax money all over the place.
I think this guy might be an interesting person to bring over, only because of his chokehold that he has here.
Well, I want to remind you that in at least one other timeline, this is not the actual front lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So the front lines in this timeline have advanced further than the last
No,
time?
they're further back, actually. In the timeline where Rorik is still a full elk riding paladin, the front lines are as far as Wondersaw. Here, they're setting up to try to take Wondersaw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's behind the line then?
Yes, you're about 20 miles further back than Wondersaw is.
So why was he a traitor then?
No,
You're looking at from the wrong. Wondersaw is north towards the Demon Lands areas. Wondersaw isn't technically a traitor because he's never belonged to the kingdom. He in this timeline, he has grown up in the Demon Lands entirely.
Oh.
So what do you think, guys?
Not a traitor, heretic.
Should I do it? Is this going to be? Are we going to be able to make use of this? Because I think that might be able to help us with money in like fresh starts. We can just go there and
depends on if he drops everything or not. Because our previous one dropped everything: power, money, magic, everything. Except for
that's
his,
a
like,
little
base
different
skills.
because we're getting one guy for his information, and we're getting another guy for his connections and stuff like that. I mean, he would still be able to run his holdings, but have vessels do it as well.
Depends on if like he's in the group following us, or if he stays home.
No, he wouldn't follow us because he definitely seems to be more of like I'd like boil it down to a paperwork kind of guy more so than a like his organizational game's on point. But like even like you said, he doesn't spend much time in the front like lines.
Yeah.
It's not always, so I mean
It would be a logistical.
Plus, depending on like he might be smart enough to be like, okay, there's, he might try and be like, oh, I can this whole time thing. They might be able to take advantage of some stuff.
Yeah, I guess Hag only left because him not being on their side means he's a enemy.
Yeah.
So,
what were you saying, Spooty?
Well, I was just saying having this guy would be like a logistical decision rather than a fighting decision, right? I
mean, fighting's not a problem. It always like it's just I think having some sort of support network can be pretty beneficial. And
well, I mean, you bring up a good point about him being like he could take advantage of like a timeline to make money much better than any one of us could potentially do. Like that is some Back to the Future. Like,
well, that's like if you could go back in time, what would you do? You'd go back to like what 2000, invest in Google. It's like always like
Bitcoin.
It's always the money thing, right? So I mean, I don't. Plus, he's not a fighter, so he's not going to drop and do it. I mean, fuck it, why not, right? I mean, I don't think he's going to bring any negative, and
I mean, we could potentially very easily sort out our gear problems with this dude for everything going forward.
He probably has the connections, or he might be able to. We could, if we learn of some type of like we're looking for these types of objects. He has the network to maybe find them, and then we can trade some sort of favor or whatever for them. But he'll be able to find them a lot. Like we can still go out and fight, and he can find shit instead of us, going to the flea market every 5 seconds trying to find shit.
All right, I think I'm convinced. I like the idea of bringing this guy in. Like I do. Now he just has to show up. One other question though. What is his merchant? You said there was a lot of merchants here in this area. Maybe can we have a chat with them as well with the investigation? Like,
what do you want to know?
Like specifically about like how much profit these guys make based on his lands and stuff like that.
So many of them indicate that they are seasonal. They're up here only for the war effort for the first 40 days.
we only exist in the war effort time, so it's kind of like
there's that one time you guys lived for 3 years, some of you.
Well,
yeah.
So they indicate that the tax is a bit high, but the profit margin is good enough to pay that. They make good money bringing food and backup supplies and that kind of stuff up here. They usually get a pretty good pick of the loot, but it's, you know, like any gold strike, it's not about selling pickaxes and going out and finding gold yourself. It's about running the local tavern. And that's what they do. You know, they set up temporary spaces so that angry soldiers with no place to spend all that king's coin can spend it all on alcohol, women, and fighting. In that regard, they find this guy to be an excellent, I wouldn't say employer, but patron. But other than that, most of them do seasonal trades around the different areas. They're not willing to discuss their, you know, trade routes to different areas, trade secrets. You know, some of them seem to be.
I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in like their reaction to this guy's work and stuff.
There's a lot of talk that he's more money than sense kind of guy, and that he's not. The reason that nothing ever happens is because he's not military focused enough. He's never out there killing anybody personally. It's all make sure we have a good defensive line.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to push the front line. I mean, it's Western Front Central.
Now, you hear a lot of mutterings. They're trying not to be too heretical, but they would like to see more killing, you know? Get rid of those damn demons. If there was more fighting, there'd be more looting. That kind of deal.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm very interested in bringing this guy in now, specifically just because of the idea that we can have someone running in the background doing a lot of this businessy shit for us, and we can fund our expeditions in ways that we wouldn't be able to do previously. So, yeah.
All right. Well, he shows up to a little secluded pond. It's a nice fishing location.
Yeah, I probably got a line in there, you know, just chilling.
We haven't described this guy. He is earthy. You know, he's got a very textured look to his face, got a good skin tone color to him, sees some sunlight on a regular basis. He has the kind of musculature you would expect of someone who regularly rides on a heavy warhorse in full plate. Not exactly like a bodybuilder material, but a solid gentleman. We're talking widow's peak, curly brown hair, huge full beard, you know, goatee going on here, brown eyes. Seems moderately trustworthy kind of face. You wouldn't want to punch him on first instinct or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he shows up and says, you know, it is a delight to see you again. Kelly.
As is you. Please join me by the lakeside here. I have a lot to discuss with you.
Yeah, so his manservant appears to pull his boots off and then retreats into the grasses nearby in case he's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those kids at tennis courts. They like runs on, gets the tennis ball, and runs off.
Yeah, exactly. He rolls up his pants and sticks his feet in the water, and you know, lets out a line and says, "It has been some time since I have fished for myself. A much younger man, I suppose."
I've always enjoyed fishing. I've never really been good at it, but the act in itself has been far more useful to me than just about any other technique I can think of relaxing. So this is what I do when I need to have time to myself or have a close conversation with someone.
My men tell me that you have a rat speaker among your company.
Ah, yes, Druid. He is a good companion of mine.
If you are looking to fish better, perhaps he could speak with the animals on your behalf.
If you could just kindly commit suicide, that'd be great.
Jump onto his hook.
I have heard that is how they do it in Ferngather and Bronze Shallow. That they...
Don't get me wrong, I love eating fish, but the act of catching it itself is part of what is the fun.
I see.
So I'm not very good at it. As I pull on the line, it's empty, and I'm just like, So,
Actually,
like,
why don't you go
totally
ahead and
game.
make a proficiency check there, real quick, with wisdom. Your fishing gear wisdom 24.
That's 3.
You
That's
pull
fucking
up
3.
you pull up the empty line, you send it back out with, like a worm on it, and then immediately you get a bite of the king of this pond. Now, we're not talking a bodacious fish, but no, not longer than forearm length, but certainly is legal regulation for fishing in 50s
Legal
United States.
regulation. The biggest you can catch without having a fucking license.
Yeah.
You
So,
pull it up out of the water, and listen, on a 24, this is a real battle here, right? Like,
Yeah.
it takes you several minutes to get this fish in, and the conversation stops. And several times he looks like maybe he wants to jump in and help you, but then he notices that you're, a big dragonborn woman, and you can handle this yourself, and that you seem to be having a lot of fun. So he just kind of watches and nods along as his own rod remains unbent. It's just sitting there like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
So-
yeah, you pull out like a big ass catfish.
Hell yeah.
Deep fried catfish.
Super ecstatic about this. I'll go like leave it like hooked onto a tree or something like that, and I'll return, put my feet in the water, but I won't cast my line again.
The next time you look, the catfish is gone, but you hear someone like cleaning it for you in the bushes.
It's just like, okay, no, that's fine. So
Stapes is very good at his job.
I thought it was going to be Finley and his
perfect fillet.
pack of 100 wild dogs, just like, "Rah!"
40 to 60 wild
just
hogs.
I was about to say, it's just like 10 rats carrying the fish like above them.
Listen, Finley should have access to spells that would allow him to do things like what you say.
Probably does.
I mean, start with speak with animals and work from there.
So I'll turn to him and I'll say, listen, I have an offer for you. It's one that you would have never received before and probably will never receive again. It's going to be a little hard for me to say, and I wish for you to keep an open mind about these things. But as you're probably aware, I am not something you see on a regular occasion in these lands.
It has been some time since anyone has seen a dragonborn.
Well, not only because of my race, but because of what I am. And,
What are
I
you?
continue to, well, let's just say I have distinct ability, and this ability allows me to repeat events. The demons that I told you about that I've slain, they were not on this life cycle. They were on a previous one. I have repeated this life multiple times, and I will continue to do so until we solve the problem that is plaguing this world. However, for that, I need allies. I have taken it upon myself to learn about you and about what you do here on these lands and on your own lands and the type of work that you're capable of. And I believe it to be very useful to our end goal. However, I want to approach you about this because it will afford you a lot of opportunities as well. Being a man of sound mind and body, you will be able to take many advantage of the idea that you will have information about things to come that no one else will. You could make investments in things and have them play out greater than any investment that you previously could. These are the sorts of things that I offer you.
What is your end goal that you speak of?
Well, right now, there are many things that plague this land. A lack of interactions from gods, for example, is one of them. The overabundance of demonic creatures is another. These are the
you
sorts
wish
of
to
things
bring the gods more closely aligned with us.
I wish to set the record straight. That is all I wish to do.
What is your stance towards the demon lord, Stalvin Black?
He is and will continue to be an enemy that we have as our group.
So you say that you are an enemy of Stalvin Black, and that if we were to enter into a partnership, I could use knowledge of the future in order to maneuver.
Your personal wealth, yes.
Well, yes, I think of my personal wealth, but I think more of the people that I could save. If I were to know when and where an enemy could strike, I could set up a more sufficient defensive line.
At this point, Kelly starts to smile and she's like, yes, I knew you would be a good man for this. This is exactly what I would like.
Blood is more valuable than coin. How do we do this?
If you are okay with it, I will relieve you of your currently earthly attachment, and you will see the greater circle that is the entire sphere that we're dealing with. However, it is worth pointing out that there is no returning to where you were before.
I mean, he holds his hand out, left hand towards you, right hand still on the fishing pole.
And I say, and do you agree that you will join our forces and follow me in our cause?
So long as your cause is in opposition to Stalvin Black, and in service to the gods, then yes.
And do you swear that we can use your formidable abilities to help raise capital for our endeavors?
I believe that our endeavors are aligned, and that I could more successfully equip you, especially if we were to consider the knowledge that I gained to be a form of payment for these equipages.
Very well. And I will take his hand, and then I'll put my palm on his head.
Yeah.
And then I will relieve him.
Okay. Yeah. For him, he's just like, nothing's really changed. Did it work?
So he doesn't have any.
No, I mean, it
anything?
didn't happen for. Nothing happened to Haig either, except that that was the moment where he chose to relieve himself of his godly powers.
Well, he also did something with Haig to give him like some type of insight, right?
Yeah, to some extent, but he like told Haig about the time god, basically. This guy, he's just like, well, okay, well, if you say it worked, then I guess it worked.
So allow me to now inform you of the heritage that you're about to uncover.
All right, so how much are you telling him? Everything?
Yeah, I'll tell him everything.
Okay. I mean, he's just like, whoa. By the time you're done, it's dark, and he's just like, Stapes, prepare me a warm bath and a cold whiskey. I have a lot to think about. Theme that world I know is much, much larger than what I thought.
When you are ready on the morrow, perhaps you should come meet the rest of our companions.
Yes. I'm interested to learn more about this rat speaker.
Very well. His name is Henley, by the way.
See.
It's a pleasure to have you on board. We will be within each other's company quite more often, I believe.
Finley.
Yes.
What are you doing that evening?
Oh, playing with my rats.
I was gonna say starting a rat revolution.
I'm braiding their tails together so like they all move as one unit.
No, they
You think
will
it-
absolutely not allow that to happen.
I was thinking of like the Indian Terminator movie where he
Oh,
turns.
God.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. This movie is incredible.
You get a visitation from a man in a patchwork cloak. We're talking browns, greens, grays, bow stave on his back, knives hanging about his belt. He just kind of knocks on the side of your wagon and says, "Rat speaker,
Yes.
I'm an intermediary. I have a client that wishes to avail himself of your powers."
Would you like me to remove the frog in your throat?
This is how I talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bitch.
Who's this client of yours?
They wish privacy, but they'd like you to come meet with them immediately in regards to something that you can do for them.
And just what might that be?
Magical ritual you can perform.
I know many rituals.
Good. So he turns and swishes his cloak in the process as if the conversation's done. You're coming with me.
Okay. Why not?
He leads you out of the camp of the Reichelunders and takes you to the far left-hand side of the forces to the west. The camp here is quite small, and the lord here appears to be moderately impoverished. Lots of peasants, very few horses or people with more than just quilted armor.
How many more stray animals has he collected on the one way to the other?
All of them.
Is there a line forming?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
It is not a line, it's a wave. He leads you into a hut where the local lord says, "What shall I call you, Red Speaker?"
Finley's my name. Rat Speaker's my game.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it. I can smell it on the wind.
Very well, Red Speaker Finley. I have, in the history of my lands, they have spoken that once, in a better time, that a druid caretook our lands. He undertook a ritual called plant growth in order to increase the yield of crops.
Mm-hmm.
And it would work for an entire year and yield twice as much food as normal.
Well, have you ever heard of damn it, I'm looking at my where is it? Have you ever heard of spike growth?
No. What is that? Is that the same thing? Is that what I'm talking about?
It grows things out of the ground.
What kind of things?
Spikes.
Does it grow spikes?
Let's go over context clues. It's called spike growth.
I'm not looking for spikes, Rat Speaker. I am looking for plants.
So he wants me to do, what is that spell
I want you to
called?
cast this plant growth spell. It has a special provision that if it's cast over an 8-hour period, you enrich all plants in a half-mile radius around the point
Right.
for 1 year, and they give double bounty, basically.
So just one question. Is there anything in this for me or my friends?
Of course, I was curious as to what payment you would require. My familial histories indicate that certain favors, the old druids would not take gold, but perhaps you are more...
I'm more progressive.
That's good. And what do you charge for this service?
Well, you're a lord, are you not? This would feed how many
consider-
people?
I was hoping you could cast it several times, here
Oh.
and down the trade road towards my lands.
So, but how many people would this feed for the coming year?
Hopefully, thousands or tens of thousands.
Oh. Now, you know, it would take 2 days for me to do this, yeah?
Very well.
I could charge by the hour, yeah? It's 8 hours a pop. I need to buy food for my rats. How about this? You give me 100 gold per spell, and we call it a deal.
How many times do you need to cast this? 4?
Oh, I thought it was twice.
2? Oh, very well. 200 gold.
Yes.
Absolutely. He like gestures to somebody and he says 200 gold, and the man brings in. You can hear it is like pouring coin out of a bag and moving it in a new bag. The guy comes in with a bag and he's like 200 gold. That speaker.
I love that. That is like, wait, only 200 gold. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I would go high and go down. But I mean, hey, whatever.
200 gold is a lot of money in this world.
That's a lot of money.
But
That is a lot
when
of
you're
money.
considering a double bounty for, you know, thousands of people, that's a lot of food.
I would have gone with
Yeah.
the percentage, but
Well,
We won't be here though. Is the thing.
I'll tell you what. I'll do it the third time for another 500.
Yeah. He gestures the guy, he brings in a 500 GP bag pretty quickly.
I'll do it a fourth time for just 20,000 gold.
That's three plots of land, yeah, for a total of 700. So why don't we make it 4 for an even 1,000?
Guy just turns to the bag man who heads back outside to hear more coin.
You know that scene in South Park when Cartman trades a guy for pubes and he gives him $5 and then he gives him 20 and then he gives him 10 and then he gives him back the 20 and then 10 and then he gets the pubes.
Yes. All right, so 1,000 gold.
Yeah.
I'm going to be busy for 4 days,
Yeah.
basically.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, whatever. I mean, I'm all for you take. I mean, you know, we're here for. I mean, a day or two, or 2 days, whatever. 4 days. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why not? Fuck it.
So you'll need to prepare at least 1 instance of plant growth every day. But yeah, that's what Finley does for 8 hours a day for the next 4 days. What about the rest of you?
Well,
I guess we should talk about what happens the next morning.
I mean,
but if
I
there's
just got us 1,000 more gold. So.
Well, dude, I mean, I'm assuming at some point you mentioned it that you found some work for a couple days or something.
Oh,
You don't
at
just disappear.
some point, I'm going to send animals in there to steal the rest of the gold, so it's fine.
Look at this hardcore
I mean-
anarchist druid.
That's right.
You do what you do when you're.
I mean, you are playing the druid correctly if you're an anarchist, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm just saying. I assume you tell one of us you're going to be.
Yeah.
So we're
I'll
not
fill
like,
you
where
all
the
in.
fuck did Finley go?
Well, I'll fill them all in. I'll go back to camp to get the, items and knickknacks that I need to prepare for the spells, and then I'll let you all know.
Yeah, I assume Agram's probably sitting there nursing it's got probably a massive bruise or something from fucking pit fighting, got into a bar fight the night previous or something. Be like, all right, I'll let him know.
So yeah, I come back and I was like, guys, I found another member of the Relieved.
That's great. Oh, fuck me. If Finley found some work, he says it's going to take him a couple of days, but it seemed like a good paying gig. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, you do you. So,
He's coming here in the morning, so I would appreciate if everyone's here to meet him.
Be
And-
cool, guys. He's my cool new friend. Okay.
well, I guess
Yeah.
after you cast it, right, you can come back the first one, right? It's not like
Yeah. And it's like,
yeah. So
he has cool guy muscles. Don't freak out when you see him, okay?
So Finley and his army of rats is MIA for 4 days.
well, I mean, he's only casted for like what
It's
8
8
hours.
hours, so
So he could
he's
come
still
back.
got.
Yeah, I mean, Druid's got to sleep.
Yeah.
And everything
I mean,
else.
between sleeping and casting, that still leaves you with a whole 8 hours worth of time.
Is there I mean, just because I'm not going to just be drinking and bar fighting for 8 hours. I mean, I'll try and make myself useful somehow. If there's a smithy or something that needs help or whatever. Not even really for pay, just for something to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're willing to go hammer out some kinks,
I don't get to hammer as much as I'd like to, you know.
yeah, I mean, if you just walk in and pick up a hammer and start helping somebody out,
Who's gonna question the dwarf with a hammer?
Yeah,
The
let
blacksmith hammer?
me see your smithing roll real quick.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah,
One.
that's what I'm
Fucking-
worried about. Is that
Hey,
you'll-
Dave, shut your fucking mouth, all right? How about that?
roll a couple of 20s and come back to me, okay, mate?
All
Like,
right,
Jesus.
all right, fair enough. Let's see, but
He rolls double 20 here.
Yeah, okay. 11.
Catch up.
11.
That's
All right,
average.
look,
A couple of ones.
they don't have you working on any of the fancier pieces of
Snake
repairing
eyes.
Lord's armor, but when it comes to, you know, like
That's
repairing the blade of pole arms and
Yeah, sure. Why
hammering
not?
out-
You know, I'm rusty. I don't get to do it. You know, it's but you don't want to. You know, you don't just start picking up the 300 kilos again, right? You work your way up. You got to get back into shape. So that's fine. I'm fine with it. Something to do between the drinking and the fighting.
You just insert yourself into a line of.
Maybe that's why I'm there. I got into a fight with the blacksmith the night before, and we kicked each other's ass, and we're like, good people. You know, we had a fight, we had a drink, and here I am because I got nothing better to do for 4 days.
Daka, talk about you.
I'm probably just like going through books and stuff with River and maybe some like light combat training.
Oh yeah, she still has his hand.
What are we
axes and
talking
shit.
about in terms of like combat training?
Like trying to figure out what she's good at, like what exactly she wants to do with her.
I mean, if I remember right, she wasn't absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
at
so
hucking
I mean,
axes and
you
stuff.
you get the clue that you love your daughter very much, but a combatant, she is not. Clumsy would be one word. A danger to anyone near her on the battlefield might be another. Her powers seem entirely in observation, study, and rituals. These strange rituals that she can use.
Tactician.
Perhaps not yet, but maybe one day.
Now you got to work your way up.
She has like 3 days worth of memories.
Well, I'm just trying to like evaluate what she is now.
Yeah, she might have proclivity or
Clumsy.
something.
So the book learning is more her speed rather than like the
Yeah,
combat.
look, it's not that she doesn't try to put in the effort, but when you're like, you know, make this movement, she's like, well,
Well, I mean, nobody, you know, is just a born fighter. I mean, everybody has to
she's
learn.
literally only used this body for again 3
Oh, yeah,
days.
that's what I'm saying.
So,
Like, you know, it'd be
Well, I'm
hard to
looking-
kind of judge her.
like
for
watching a
that
newborn
based on
doe
just-
try to walk across an icy
That's what I'm
field.
saying. Like, she might, just keeps working at it, just like anybody. You know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall practice?
I'm also like I'm looking for aptitude because she is.
Your
Her
child.
aptitude in the physical combat realm is incredibly low.
Well,
so-
she's also like the descendant of my patron, so I'm looking for aptitude where she's most.
her aptitude appears entirely in unusual arcane ability.
So then we go to the books.
Yeah, sometimes you're doing stuff and she just corrects you make a mistake and she's like, that's wrong. That's wrong too. You're like looking through arcane formula and she's just like, no, that's all bullshit. You use, you know, Avogadro's number here.
Daka reads her like Art of War as a bedtime story.
Yeah. Well, we have a whole bunch of just like insane books from all over the place.
Hey, well, we have punchy people. We could use a couple more book people. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Yeah,
So,
so,
like-
yeah, she's willing to, you know, work out with you and get some exercise in. It's not that she favors the book learning, but that is what she's good at.
hmm Well, I'll ask her what she wants to do. Like, I'll tell her she has an aptitude for ritual and magic.
If I recall correctly, the entire reason why Abram gave her those axes was even if she wasn't going to be a friendly combatant, she needed to be able to defend herself. It's a kind
Yeah.
of, you know, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Well, this is also like these are I'm learning the tools that you're good at that will keep you alive if we can't.
Yeah, I mean, shit's going to happen, as has already been proven by the ceiling demon.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
And I'll ask her like if she's had any like weird premonitions or messages from her other father.
oh yeah, she just says, well, I communicate with him regularly. Sharing my observations. I don't get much back.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that I don't dream like the rest of you do.
I
Instead,
imagine.
I spend the time performing more rituals,
Yeah,
harvesting energies.
I imagine part of you doesn't actually sleep.
Perhaps. As to what I want to do, I don't know that I have that choice overall.
Everyone has a choice.
Well, everyone has a soul.
Who's saying you don't? You might have a greater soul than.
She says, yeah, she just, oh, it's super sad. She shakes her head with her eyes downcast and slightly squinty and says, no, my soul belongs to another. I do his work at his bidding, just like I do what I can to aid you, Father.
Well, we'll make it as hospitable and up to you as we can then.
I have no complaints so far.
Do you remember? Well, like I know that she's learned a little bit. She retains a little bit of the stuff she learned from her previous life.
Yeah? What do you want to ask her about?
I'm just gonna ask her if she remembered, like how much she remembers.
Bits and pieces. There are some things that seem to be more important than others. Things that people went out of the way to teach me. Like wanting your own space is normal, and throw a few rocks, you'll feel fine.
Mm-hmm. Although you're he'll like laugh a little bit, be like, you're not exactly the throwing rocks type, I don't think, anymore.
I throw them on occasion.
Sure enough. Anyway. Just kind of like hanging out father-daughter time, pretty much.
Yeah, she's not super talkative right now, except in regards to like studies.
Mm-hmm.
She seems to want to dodge around this touchy-feely emotional stuff. It's clear that she hasn't really sorted through it on her own. But she definitely wants to talk about all of the new stuff that she learned today by reading your books.
Yeah. Well, like Duck is not really touchy-feely anyway, but he's a lot more like knowing that she can die and be gone forever. He's a little bit more like,
I mean, being concerned, yes, is a good thing.
It's concerned, but also paranoia in a weird, like, non-feeling kind of dissociative way.
I would hate for this thing that belongs to me to not belong to me anymore.
Well, it doesn't even belong to me. That's the problem. It's like it's borrowed from my landlord kind of thing.
All right, well, just gotta go Dormammu it.
Yeah.
You know what this is like? It's like when you donate sperm to a sperm bank, but then like want to go hang out with the daughter later on. You know, like that's kind of what this is, right? So
yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not gonna touch it.
Let's talk about the meeting with a new party member. Although it's pretty unlikely that he's going to actually join the party. He seems more static place. Rise Reichlander. He approaches your caravan, but he does so with a caravan of his own that set up a open flapped tent for you. They bring in, like, they got 4 guys hauling a table and some stumps for seating. They set out a nice morning spread of like bagels and cream cheese and various salted meats, local vegetables.
You had me at salted meat.
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I mean, he comes to impress his new friends, and sits at the head of the table and says, "Welcome. I am Rise, Lord of Reichlander. I recognize you, Rat Speaker Finley. Your exploits have spread through the camp quickly."
Oh, have they?
"Yes. It would appear that you have already found an unusual style of work among other camps. I had not realized that your abilities were so bargainable.
I mean, would you like to bargain?
Absolutely. For increased crop proficiency.
I mean, you're in luck. I've already prepared a bunch of stuff for that.
My lands extend for many miles in any direction here. Of course, we set up crops here on the front lines, but who knows when we might have to abandon those crops in one direction or another. But mine own village lays perhaps a day's ride to the south, and all of the farmland between here and there could use the bountifulness that you provide.
Well, Rise, it's worth pointing out that in terms of future prosperity, there's a good chance that what you will achieve after planting these crops might be quite short. Given that if we perish in battle, you will go back to a time.
I understand, but I did not become such a successful leader by not planning for the future. To toil and fail is better than failing with nothing.
That is fair. You are, in fact, more experienced in these equations than any of us, so I take your word on this.
There are many hundreds square miles of territory that I could use your bountiful presence towards, but it would seem that that might take more time than you have the availability for. If my understanding is correct, I could use you for 4 days' time in the local area. What price do you charge for such service?
Well, for 4 days, it'd be 1,000 gold. I'm sorry, 1,000 gold a day.
Very well.
We're farmers, boys.
Oh shit! I'm the rat class now.
All right.
You got anybody you need punched or?
Yeah, why not?
For that, I charge 1 gold piece. So, Rise, did you have any other questions for us as a group? Any sort of information we can give you that would help? Dates, names, etc.
No, I expect that I will learn more as time goes on. If we loop, as you term it, the knowledge I have of the events that have happened up until now will be of great use in
So
taking
it is worth
territory.
pointing. It is worth pointing out that not everything is identical in every instance, but a lot of it is the same.
I will attempt to be flexible.
So there is something that I can tell you now that you would not be aware of. What was the name of the town up north again? Sorry.
Wondersaw.
Yeah. Wondersaw in one of our previous times is where we fought the demons. The human army had progressed far enough north to take that back. But it was a trap lying in wait. And the only thing that was keeping that place together was an old crone inside of a church. After she fell, and after that holy area was removed, it fell quickly after that.
Three-headed dragons tend to do that.
That they do.
Was it or is it a hydra?
A hydra, yeah.
It's a hydra, yeah. It is also worth pointing out, now I am not entirely sure if Death will see you like she sees us, but she is our sister and she is not happy with us right now. We wish to oppose her. So it is best to keep you. It would be best to keep your head wary of her.
I see.
I'm sure the man's aware to avoid death. It's not very profitable.
Indeed.
Well, I
Not
mean,
yours.
this is more the physical entity of death rather than death itself. But yes. Our man here, Hag, was a former acolyte of hers. If you have any questions, he would be the man to ask.
He has Haig sit in a kiddie seat next to him, basically, and they speak quietly about specific undead types, which seems to come up occasionally. What he's more interested in is how to prevent the dead on the battlefield from rising as undead, which Haig has extensive knowledge about. Mostly in the other direction, how to bring them up. So he gives him protective measures, like definitely don't do this.
Don't put them all to mass grave. It makes it easier. You only have to cast it once.
It's an area of effect spell.
Have you ever seen StarCraft with the Banelings? You got to split them. Them as far apart as possible.
We talking StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2?
2. Banelings weren't in one.
Yeah, Banelings are in 2. Yeah.
No, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they're the Zerglings that turn into exploding bombs.
I thought they had that in 1.
No.
They only had regular
Really?
Zergs. Yeah, Banelings really changed the fucking meta for dudes that stand in the front and fire bat. Yeah, in the process, Stapes is getting involved in lining out the potential profits of a double yield, and he presents Finley with 4 1,000 gold ingots. So not coins, just like a solid fucking Fort Knox brick.
Solid bricks.
So how much do I need to put? So you got an extra 1,000 gold in gold pieces, right? And then you got 4 gold bricks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure to put them on the little side. The other side, they're impossible to pick up.
Okay. I'll mark that down. Good work, Finley. Jesus.
I'm just out here making some money.
Dollar, y'all. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know. We have a conversation with him. He gets information from Hag. And I guess we turn to, like, you know, now that both of them are here, maybe we should converse on, like, because, you know, Hag will be with us, so he will ultimately see our demise and stuff like that. But for Rise, it's not going to be, he's going to be basically jolted back, right, whenever this happens. So perhaps we should make a rendezvous point where we'll meet everyone.
I mean, he's got his territory, right? I assume he's got some sort of keep or castle or something.
Yeah, and his territory isn't terribly far from the Goblin Cave. It would take Haig 2 days of overland travel to arrive. For you all, it would probably take 3 or 4 days of hard travel to make it back there.
It's no different than what we're already doing, though.
Yeah, and it's all interior Imperial land, so you probably won't encounter any problems.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, so basically we make like a fallback plan to where we should meet.
To meet
And
at
It's a smart idea.
We also
Lunder
have,
Village.
we also have like intermittent free 1-day travel for an hour kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we do. So
You can only do that once every 10 days, though.
Yeah, that's why I said intermittent.
Yeah, but if we're using it whenever we get reset, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. At
Does
least that cuts the travel down significantly. Even then,
And
it should be
also-
fairly quick because it's on the road.
I also say to Rise, maybe separately, is like, if you think that there is anyone else that would be a worthy addition to this cause, you should consider letting me know their names. and what they could potentially add.
He nods and he starts thinking, but he doesn't come up with anyone immediately.
No, yeah, no. I mean, he'll have basically this life and the next to come up with something, right?
He'll run into
So-
somebody at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess, I mean, outside of that, I don't really have much more to add to this conversation, really.
So Haig says, then what is our plans moving forward?
Well, we will cross the demon lands as we wanted to before.
I mean, Rise is just like, what? This is the first he's heard of that.
We
Mhm.
have a trick up our sleeve.
See, are you sure you can survive such inhospitable?
I mean,
They
this
are
sort of
wooden bound
knowledge,
not to touch us. We have assurances.
this
You just see
actually,
Agro-
from
just going.
whom?
Just in the background.
well, in this timeline, we have come to an agreement with Stalvin Black.
I mean, when you say that, this was not a good thing to say to him.
No, I know. And I say, just calm yourself. It is our intention to make him pay for everything that he has done. However, it is important to us to travel across these lands so that we can seek out further information about ourselves.
He's also less powerful in this timeline than a previous. His patron has abandoned him in some way or another.
Yeah, he's not taking this news well.
Well, I mean, he's just going to have to come to
You can
terms
tell
with
that whatever that
sometime.
was, it was a massive adrenaline dump for him, and he was like, if you need to cross the demon lands and you think you have the capability to do so, then if you must do it, then you must do it. But know that everything there is hostile. The word of Stalvin Black cannot be trusted. For all his speeches about contracts, the man is a murderous fiend.
Oh, we're well aware.
We have all the time in the world to dispatch him, and we plan to.
So he stands up and pushes himself away from the table and says, very well, I wish you luck on your journey.
Is there anything that you would like us to seek or look for or obtain information on while we're over there?
I would ask
Something
you
that could
to
help your cause.
seek victory.
That we can do.
He leaves in kind of a muted huff.
He'll get over it. He has to.
Yeah, you're like, he'll get over it because he's got infinity to spend the rest of his
It's-
life with us.
Well, you know, it's all about. It's not about the now. It's the advantage. You know, what do we learn for the fight? You know, the final confrontation, right?
Mhm.
The lesser of two evils.
Do we cut to 8 days of Finley doing some planting? Sitting in a field, just going.
Like with a rake. Just,
There is one final thing that I would do, like while like this is like after a couple of days or whatever. I would probably visit Rise again, like on a personal note,
Yeah.
and try and like keep that sort of relationship with him if
Okay.
possible. Yeah.
That
Um,
normally this would not be a problem, but after this revelation, it's going to require a persuasion check.
Sure.
To stay at that level with him. He is upset.
Well, he's already signed a contract, so he's fucked either way.
Well, I mean, I understand that, and that's kind of why I want to do this now before
Yeah.
he like persuasion. Oof.
At first, there's a bit of that hate fucking going on, but
Mhm.
after a few days of that, he levels out and is accepting of the situation for what it is. You are involved in greater forces than what he believes possible, and that if you think you need
I
to
imagine
do
there's
this,
a lot of like pillow talk, going on between us and stuff like that. That would help ease a lot of his tension and confusion and stuff like that.
I'd imagine Kelly's
I don't
like,
think he's confused. I think
Yeah.
he pretty well understands the
he
situation.
knows what's up.
He's just upset
Hmm.
about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
Sure,
imagine
I'll accept that.
at one point Kelly's like, "You have no idea how much Daka hates that guy."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Vagrant just hates.
Agram just hates.
You just say, you know, you got Drudy Boy, you got the magic guy, you got the pretty much the leader, and then you got Punchy.
Daka's like, if Stalwin Black is tied to the ground in like a bamboo field, Daka's the piece of bamboo that's growing for years and then grows through him in a matter of days.
Wow.
That's
So we're going full Vietnam on this guy, huh?
Yep.
Prometheus shit going on here. Okay.
It might take a
the
while.
bungee sticks.
Might take a while, but Daka wants to make sure he goes down in one punch, pretty much. Gonna Saitama this bitch.
Through a mountain.
How many sit-ups and push-ups do you do a day?
1,000. 10,000.
About one. First half
There
when I
you
get
go.
up, other half when I get down.
Get up, and get down. Oh.
So we're heading into the demon lands with quite a lot of gold and stuff like that. So I'm pretty good. Oh, hang on, I gotta get rid of that line. Yeah. So we've sold everything. We've got one wagon. We've got wine and cheese. We've got rations, and we've got healing potions. Oh, is there a chance that Hag could have done some healing potion stuff over the couple of days that we were here, or not really?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd assist Hag as much as I can, as much as I remember.
Absolutely. So if you put in
Because I remember the
400
components.
gold, you'll end up with 12 healing potions.
Oh fuck yeah!
Sure.
Okay, that's a good price. Yeah.
That's 3 each.
Hell
Plus
yeah.
we got the two. Are these the same level? So two,
Yeah, they're the lowest
2d8
possible
plus
level.
3.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I
You
am
said
making
14 or 12?
12.
12.
12.
I'm
So,
making
so
a
we
note.
got 14. Yeah.
I am putting 3 healing potions on my character sheet because I have to be on it to count.
Yeah, I will do the same. So if you're taking 3, that leaves us with 11, and I'm taking 3, that puts us at.
So
8.
Haig doesn't spend the whole time working. He intersperses it with attempting to buy pawned books from soldiers who might have stolen it from the nobles, or nobles who are strapped for cash, trying to win books in gambling games.
I'd also give Hag access to my books as like a private library kind of thing.
Okay,
That's
so
right, I have a TV,
your
yeah.
books are very arcane based, and the things he's looking for are like,
historical?
how do I run an army, military history,
He's looking for Sun Tzu.
success. Yeah, he's looking for Sun Tzu, and there is no Sun Tzu in this world. He's basically combing through military generals who were moderately successful and figuring out what their strategies are and why. And most of those books don't tell you and why. They just say, haha, I did this and it was good and it worked. And he's like, how do I break this down?
He's looking for the Stonewall Jacksons kind of thing.
Also, I would probably give him guidance as well for his cleric stuff.
Okay.
Like just because as just like a side note, I'm probably always doing that, but
It
What are
seems like it's going to
the,
take a really long time for him to accumulate to that, because he's more powerful than any of you as a cleric, and it's going to take a long time for his faith to recover back to that level.
That's fine. That's why it's like helping him over time or whatever.
But
It's
I'd
just
rather-
a large
would I be
pool
able
of
to
hit
do-
points.
Could I do like a history skill check to help him find relevant information?
Absolutely, please do.
What were the health potions? What
I'll help you with that and give you a Oh, no, you already wrote it. Okay, whatever.
12.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You help guide him towards. He was a sounding board, I would think. Like, like the general set out like this. So why did the enemy do these things? And you're like, oh well, over in this book we can see that this
The other side of us, or like a different
commentator
side of
has
the story.
mentioned, like obviously it was because this messenger died and that battle never moved forward and things fell apart. And he goes, ah, yes, messengers are very important.
One person refused to hit the button that would end the world, and he saved everyone.
Okay, all right,
over,
Russia. That's happened more than once, scarily enough.
What was the healing pot?
It's 2d4 plus 2.
No, it's +3. It's 2d8 +3.
Oh,
it?
wait, which one? Well,
They're just regular healing potions.
if
What
they're
are
just
regular?
regular ones, it's 2d4 +2.
Okay,
If they're
yeah, it's that one.
graders, they're
No, they're just regular potions of healing.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, sorry,
so,
they're
yeah.
2d4 +2, not 2d8
yeah,
+2.
regular healing 2d4 +2, greater healing are 4d4 +4. So
All
if
of
they're
your
just
healing potions are regulars.
Yeah, okay.
Common.
Okay. So who's taking 3? Finley and Andrew, you taking?
Yeah.
Well,
I already counted you, Agram. So.
4 times 3 is 12,
Okay.
so 3 each.
Yep.
Well, no, we had 2 already to begin with, so.
I'm just taking 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could have 2 in reserve in case like Hag
Well,
or Riverin.
Yeah, I mean, they'll
Yeah.
both take 1.
Yeah.
we could do that.
Okay, cool. So that's fine. All the healing potions are split up between us then.
Is there a way to macro the healing pot?
You just write /R 2d4 +2.
There used
Yeah.
to be. I think they shit canned the macro system a while back.
Okay.
I'm
No,
pretty
I was gonna like in the skills roll. There's custom, but there's
Yeah.
only d20s.
Yeah.
I was gonna like write a custom healing roll so I could just like
I
macro.
mean, you
it
can just
when I
write
needed
a
it.
macro that's not in the skill
Well, yeah.
thing. Yeah, that's just. I mean, I'll write it for you real quick and send it on Discord.
Cool. Because that way, like in case we have to do it, we don't have to like. Because we might need those more often since none of us really have healing other than Kelly.
It's true.
Ingram looks at a healing potion, normal one. It's like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this? I got 85 hit points.
That's 10 hit points, dude, roughly.
I know. I just, it's just, I got 85. Oh, I technically have like twice as that because I only take half damage.
Hagram stubs his toe in the morning. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Honestly, you probably get used on you guys more than get used on me. It's mostly why I'm carrying them.
Yeah, well, it's like it'll mostly be to like get people back up. I
Well,
assume.
yeah, that's the thing. It's more of just a adrenaline shot to the heart than it is actually do anything because we've all got
It's
what at
liquid-
least
it's liquid
mean-
smelling salts.
yeah, well, pretty much. I mean, I know I've got the most, but everybody's got a lot of. We don't have a dock of D1 anymore with minimum hit die rolls.
Yeah.
So,
I can keep people from completely dying, but like
And
I can't get people up.
Warlock's on what D8?
Yeah, d8.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I don't think we're going to get much more done this session. I don't
Doesn't seem like it.
I mean, we
All of my Wonder Saw
I mean,
content out the door, but that's fine. That's next week. Is everyone good for next week?
Yeah,
Yeah. yeah.
Very
I
well.
got nothing going on.
Friends, let's do some outros, starting with Drumurboy.
Hey, I'm Drumurboy. I make music and put it on the internet. The newest one, or the newest publicly available one, is Break the Mold. It's a Far Verona tune. It's acoustic mixed with old vintage synth instruments. So it's kind of a different mix. That's already up on the Roleplay Radio, or Roleplay Bandcamp. Roleplay Radio is the Spotify page where it'll be in a few days. I uploaded it yesterday. It usually takes a couple business days to get up there, ranging between like same day and 7 days later. But yeah, that's where you can look at that. It'll be on the Far Verona playlist as soon as it's up there. I'll put it on there. And yeah, still working on new music. Still working on art for the Star Wars tune. That'll be up on everywhere when the art is done. And then still working on the Nerd or Die sound effects pack. I've pinged them about it, but it's been busy, I guess. I've had a new release lately, so still working on that, I guess. That's it for me, work-wise.
What do you got, Henley?
Yo, what up? Thanks everyone for watching, playing, all that stuff. Thanks Arthur for running it. Man, we had a long period of time where we were just battling, and now we're getting all the mercantile stuff
That's
out of the
right.
way too. So, but I'm feeling pretty good about like where we're at right now with this game. Like we've got a bunch of really cool allies that are with us for life, yo. So yeah, I'm
They're ride or die with me,
That's
babe,
right.
Bay.
yeah, Bay,
Battle
that's
Juice for
it.
life.
Battle juice
That
for
is
life.
not. That is your team name. That is not the name anyone outside of the 4 of you answer to.
Yeah, they're the relieved.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
the middle of a battlefield, anybody can just yell out battle juice, and that's how you get the attention.
Welcome
And
on.
there's.
I'm
and if
telling you,
put
the
those-
relief featuring Riverin is going to be a real hot mixtape. Okay,
If you put those two names back to back, you get a totally different picture.
DJ Gygax.
Relieved
DJ
Outages.
Gygax.
He's
spits
spinning
those
4
records-
tracks
yeah,
at
I was
once.
gonna say.
Yeah,
Using
Gleemo's
all
the
his
streaming
legs.
service. Gleemo is totally the streaming service.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We need to have a
so
one
I'm-
shot of this party in a modern setting.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for some sweet band covers. I might have to commission Zone Alert to get on that. Put one
Oh
together.
my god, no.
So, I mean, I don't know. I can talk about stuff like I'm making adult games. Like, it's going really well so far. We're doing pretty good ahead of schedule, and social media and the community for the company has exploded. Like, took us a couple of days, and we're already at 100 new members on our Discord channel and all that sort of stuff. So, it's growing quite quickly, all things considered. In terms of other stuff, I'm still doing Nintendo Switch games and stuff like that. We've had a couple of games be in the top 10, top 15 for the past 3 months, and now everyone's just like, oh shit, company is really valuable now. And yeah, so we're doing pretty good. Like, for example, we sold 17,000 copies of Wrecked up until just for this month up until now. So on Switch, which is really, really good. That's a lot. And yeah, I don't know, we're doing pretty good. But again, it just takes me so much time to do all this stuff. So I've had to put the streaming stuff to the side. I've had to put all my role-playing stuff on the side because I spend like a good 12 hours a day literally in the office. So very little time to do anything else. So coming here and doing this sort of stuff with AP and the gang is just like, it's nice. It's just good to stop doing that shit for a little bit. So,
And that's
Yeah.
why you spend the entire stream in personnel management attempting to get maximum business returns.
look, you can take the man out of the business, but you can't take the business out of the man. Okay, like
Yeah. I'm afraid I can't be a full business simulator for you, but I'm glad you got to role play the thing that you love.
I mean, like if we think about it like this, like the thing that we spend the most time on outside of combat is managing
Gathering stuff.
magic
Logistics.
items and stuff like that. And now we have someone that can basically do that on the side for us and also help manage like a clear line path. Like, for example, if we wanted to get through this area quickly, he can like make a pathway through like the orc battle and stuff like that we can get through, and shit like that. Like, we have a resource to do that stuff now. So
It's like if
Yeah.
Dark Souls was a roguelite, we found the shortcut to the area, you know?
Amateur study tactics, professional study logistics.
Yeah. So, and the fact that we've got the inside knowledge on Lady Death is real good. So we're getting the resources that we need to plow to like big bad territory
There's
now.
definitely some plowing going on.
Yeah.
Well, with
Well,
that,
I mean,
let's jump over to Finley.
he's got his hoe out. He's doing it right.
Yeah. I know how to work that hoe, and that's what I'm
All
gonna
right.
do.
Okay.
Don't you know? Yep, I'm Spootnik, and I'm here on Wednesdays, and apparently wait, is the board game thing live or recorded?
It's recorded.
So I'm gonna be in. It's so funny. I was just talking to my wife the other day. I was literally watching that Shut Up, Sit Down review of Twilight Imperium 4, and my wife was asking what it was. I was like, "Oh, it's a game that I'm never gonna get to fucking play."
Well, you're gonna get to play it for the
And now I
next
get to
couple of
play it.
Mondays. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
I will actually watch you guys play that because Twilight Imperium is one of those games that is escaping me. That Scythe as well has also always eluded me, like just
Yeah.
forever has eluded me, as well as Gloomhaven. Those
Yeah.
3 games are the ones for me that are like the fish that I'll never get to taste.
So I'm
Yeah,
saving
so-
these board games up for weeks where, it's like massive holidays and nothing happens. I can drop something on YouTube.
Yeah.
Speaking of
So,
fish, what the fuck happened to your catfish?
We ate it, man.
I ate it.
We ate
Did
it.
we? Okay.
It didn't just
I
disappear.
I was
Stapes
just like,
cleaned it.
did he get mentioned? Maybe I just didn't hear it.
Don't worry, it was eaten. We didn't mention it, but yes, it was eaten off screen. We also don't talk about when everyone poops and pees in this game. You got anything else, Finley?
I just
That's
have a
all
GIF.
I got.
I just have a GIF of this face, so that I can set it and go to the bathroom and no one is the wiser.
Sorry, Spootnik, you didn't have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Atomic.
What's up? Tommy.
Yeah.
I play games here on Wednesdays for these knuckleheads, obviously. I'm also here on Saturdays for Dark and Glory, Wrath and Glory, Jesus Christ, Dark Inquisition. And don't get more than 2 hours of sleep a day, folks. Really, it's not great for your brain bits. Yeah, so we're in the middle of an 8th edition game right now. We'll see. We're doing pretty well. We'll see if we can maintain that. We still have 4 turns to survive. So tune in for that. We'll see if I die or not. And then also, I am going to be joining Pondo, Cotton, and a friend of theirs for their Gestalt game on Sundays.
Sundays, wow, okay.
What's a Discalc? What is that?
Gestalt, you play 2 characters, so 2 classes, but you get the features of both. And then when you level up, unlike multi-classing where you just put a level into one, you put a level into both. And so like you take the hit die, like whatever's greater. So say I'm playing a fighter and a wizard, so I take the D10 hit die, and then you get whichever class gives you more skills, you take the higher number, but you have the combined skills from both. Your spell slots are combined. So it's like super multi-classing.
Is this just like 5e then or something?
Yeah, it's 5e.
Oh, cool! I never even heard of that before. That's neat.
Yeah,
It's really popular for Pathfinder.
Yeah, there's a specific rule set for 5e on. I'll link it to you after this.
I mean, early game content for that sort of stuff would make it you much more reliable in terms of like builds and stuff. So
yeah, you're very much able to fill gaps pretty easily, and you're also able to do some combinations that normally you'd have to pick and choose, but you can actually kind of do so. Like if I'm kind of like, oh, I want to try. It's kind of like a battle mage, but I'm not just like I'm not gimping myself by doing Eldritch Knight, which is what I plan to do. I'll have full on wizard to back it up, right? So it'll be kind of cool. So I haven't done one in a very long time. Last time I did it, like AP said, was Pathfinder game years ago. So that'll be fun. So I'll be there same time Sundays over on Pondo the Match channel. If you're here, you probably know who that is. So I get to steal Pondo from Cotton on the weekends. Apparently, that's what I'm doing now. So that's it. That's me.
That's it. We'll be back next week. Have a good night, guys. Fire noises. Oh shit! This is the wrong show. No fire noises. All right. Well.